Thank you, Gina, for your
Legend Gina.
yes, for your ever loyal service to us here at the Shedtime podcast. Whew, all right. Well, I don't think we should waste any time. I think we should just dive on in. What do you guys say?
Yeah,
I'm
dude,
ready.
I'm down. I'm down.
Let's get it,
I'm
ladies
gonna
and
be high
gentlemen.
in about 10 seconds. Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are kicking off a Shedtime podcast in 4, 6, 27. Hut.
Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to Shedtime. What is Shedtime, you ask? Well, it's code for the consumption of cannabis, but it's much more than that. Shedtime's a state of mind. It's art, it's music, it's cryptocurrency, technology, it's food, it's vaping. It can be whatever you want it to be, as long as you're not letting the bastards get you down, not being a dick, and making it fun. When you're in the shed, it's whatever your mind allows you to create. So now let's get to the Shedtime podcast.
And welcome back to the Shedtime podcast. It's another beautiful Sunday, and goddamn, dude, it is just some gorgeous weather right now. And kind of wish I had the ability to just do the podcast from outside right now.
Dude, there'd be like so many chirps and
I
like
would be down.
the birds are singing right now, man. Up here they are. Like it was actually like really nice this morning. It's not as nice now. It's like getting a little bit overcast. It's still very comfortable temperature wise. Like it's probably like, I don't know, like 20 degrees. So it's probably like around 70 outside. And it's nice. I'm loving it.
Yeah, we hit like mid to upper 70s here right now. So like it's stunning out there, and it's killing me because all I want to do is go down to the pond and go fishing. But your boy rolled his fucking ankle yesterday.
Oof.
So fierce I can barely stand. So that's been out of the question right now, which sucks because I want to get out there and rip some lips.
Go give her a dangle, man. You know?
Dude, actually, you know what's funny? Like the other day I was thinking, I was like, fuck, man, I want to fucking go fishing. Like I need to get my shit organized, go fishing. I have to like actually fix a part of my boat motor so I can like go out and like for some reason, dude, the gear selector part doesn't work the greatest. So like you have to like fool around with it to get it back into neutral. I don't know why. It's not even like it's old now. Like it's a 1998, but like really that's like not that old. But the gear selector and like it won't start and drive or reverse, like or forward or reverse. So you have to get it in neutral to start it. So if you're like out on the lake, dude, and it fucking, dies or like you want to kill the motor and just like kind of drift and cast or whatever, like you have to try to get it in neutral before you turn it off. Otherwise, like you might not be able to get it started again.
Oof. That's
Yeah, but it'll start first pull. Like it fucking starts like a fucking dream. It's weird. So I think I have to like replace some linkage or something. I'm not really sure. I'll have to like actually open it up and look at it. But yeah, I knew I want to go fishing. So I feel you on that, especially when you're so close. You can just like go, but your ankle is fucking bummed out.
Yeah, man, it's a huge letdown. Like I'm determined this year I'm gonna catch the one that got away.
Yeah, a lunker.
Well, I caught one last season, and before I could I had literally like just got a picture of him, and before I could like get my grip on him to take the hook out, he fucking wiggled just right, snapped my line, and took off with my lure still in his lip.
Oh, that motherfucker.
I'm like, let me catch you next year and let me find that hook still in you. That'd be gold. Like, ha! I caught him again, and I got my lure back.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping for it. My buddy's like a wicked avid fisherman, and he was saying like right now it's killer because they're all hanging out in the beds, and so like if you've got clear water, you're able to just kind of like find the beds and just start casting right into them. And he's like, I'm nailing lunkers right now. Like,
well, yeah, because they're real aggressive too if they're laying on beds.
that's it. Like he's catching some beefy boys down his way. And I'm like, shit, man, I wanna go so bad. Although he was telling me it was funny. He actually watched one just continuously pick up his bait and spit it out.
Mhm.
Just
Really?
like a get
They'll
this out
just
of
move
my
them.
bed.
They'll
Yeah,
just move them out of the bed and they just spit it out.
yeah, 100%. He was like, nope, nope, I'm not hungry. Just get this fucking shit away from my nest. Kick rocks. So love that. Love that. I'm still hoping that there's a day that there's a spot in town not too far from where I live. I used to go fishing there as a kid growing up. I'm still hoping there's a day I somehow fish out my old fishing pole from when I was a kid. Because I think that would just be hysterical. Because I remember being a kid in the boat, and you know how when you're a kid and you're out on the boat and you're out fishing, you're kind of getting a little bored if they're not biting. So I wasn't holding on quite tight, and apparently I had a big enough one hit that thing hard, it ripped it clean out of my hands.
Really?
Yeah.
We've had that
I've
happen
never had
before
that
as
happen.
kids. Yeah.
I've broke a rod before because I had like a really, really fucking like heavy test on it. And it was probably already damaged. And I like caught like a pretty good fish. I actually ended up catching the fish anyways. Because I just like fucking let the drag completely off and it just like went all the way out. And dude, I fucking managed to like reel it back because we took it off. Like the drag, we then turned it up and I just slowly like pulled it, turned the motor off, and we just drifted over top of it and just slowly fucking pulled it and like ended up like scooping it with the net because we were only in probably like 5 or 6 foot water.
Hand fishing.
Yeah, dude, it was fucking wild. Like, it wasn't even that big of a
Yes.
fish. It was like a 3 pound bass. Like, I thought I was about to fucking catch like a fucking 25 pound, like muskie, 30 pound muskie or some shit. It was just like a 3 pound bass.
He's like, yeah, no, I just hit hard. Come on, strong. Love
Well,
that.
bass hit, they hit lures pretty hard, man.
Yeah, they
That's
do.
why like a lot of people love
They're
bass
aggressive,
fishing.
bro.
Yeah, just the way that they like fucking target and then they like
Some of
hit
the
it.
some of the best like bass fishing, bro, is like striper or like hybrids, bro. Because they're aggressive as fuck, dude. And they're like pretty fucking quick because they live within like the water columns and shit. So like they gotta fucking fight against currents and shit a lot.
Yeah, and I think that they're actually like a relative to a bass, so like that makes
Yeah.
sense. And I think that they're like even bigger than bass.
Oh fuck yeah, dude.
Well,
They're
yeah,
huge.
striper
dude.
are the saltwater bass.
Yeah.
And they do come, they just come into the freshwater and shit. But dude, they're fucking gnarly, bro.
They are, man. Like
We
I
used
was
to fish for them in Havasu. That's what we used to fish, dude. And they're delicious too, by the way.
yes, they are. Striper is
Deep fry that shit, bro.
yes. That was how I tried it too, and
A
like
little bit of some golden crispies, bro.
little, just that much better than a cod. You know,
Yeah.
like I know a lot of people swear
Throw
cod's
them in
the
a little
way.
bit of shake and bake, baby. Drop them some oil. You know what I'm saying?
Ah, yeah. Panko fry that bitch.
Have a quick fish fry.
We used to do that all the time. We'd go out during the summer, catch a shit ton of fucking striper. Dads would fucking go in a little fucking room, clean them all up, and fucking throw them in bags, fucking bring them back, fucking have a nice fucking fish fry.
I love that. Yo, speaking of cooking, you're gonna get your report back soon, Uncle Chris. I'm doing the tenderloin sous vide today.
Oh, let's go. That's fucking awesome.
It's in the water bath as we speak. So we will know how that turns out later today. And I'm very excited because now I've done a roast beef and I've done the filet mignon and I've done chicken. And dude, chicken was something else. I was very impressed.
Yeah,
Super
because a lot of
moist.
people like excuse me, a lot of people seem to complain about like chicken breast, right? Like if it's too dry.
Mm-hmm.
So like I wonder, dude, if that like how that would be if you like cooked it with like
Dude,
some salsa or something in the
some
bag
turkey,
too.
bro. Turkey would probably be really
Ooh.
good in the sous vide too, because turkey's always dry.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, like that's why whenever I eat turkey, I'm more often like a darker meat guy.
Yeah, you gotta deep
Because it's a
fry it,
little
bro.
greasier or whatever.
when you deep fry it, it keeps in all the juices, dude, and it fucking is way more delicious in my opinion. That's why like Thanksgiving, I'll only eat like either the deep fried turkey or sometimes I'll get down with the smoked turkey because my dad, he just fucking chefs it up, bro, and just fucking, you know what I mean? That fucking smoked turkey be fire. But I do not like a oven roasted turkey, bro. It's just they're always too.
I don't mind it leftovers.
I see, and I don't do leftover turkey, bro.
I'll have like a hot turkey
it.
sandwich. Like the hot turkey sandwich is fine. Like I like that.
Oh, I live for fucking Thanksgiving sandwiches.
Yeah, I'm not a big turkey
I don't
guy
put cranberry on it ever though.
at all.
Not sandwich or fucking fresh.
I do.
I'm not really a huge turkey guy either, for the record. Like I do prefer it like the next day in like a fry pan with some gravy. You like let it just simmer in the fucking gravy.
What I mean by I don't like turkeys, I'll only eat it on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I would never want it other than like so we have it on Thanksgiving and
I won't eat it the second day. I'll only eat it that day because it's mainly the only option. Yeah, and most of the time I'll grab a bunch of all the other shit and like maybe 1 or 2 pieces of turkey just to say that I ate some.
I mean, that's the thing with the holiday meal though, right? Is like your protein is never really what everybody eats the most of. Like Thanksgiving, my plate's got way more mashed potatoes, stuffing, and the vegetables and all that than it has pieces of turkey.
I would much rather have a ham. In my opinion,
I like ham, but
like a spiral ham, bro.
I'll have that like more than once a year, though. Like I'll have ham more than
we don't even have that ever, really.
What, dude? That's like literally like as a kid, that was the Easter meal. Like it's like as much as like Thanksgiving.
Here's
turkey,
the thing, Chris. We're not a very traditional family, other than Thanksgiving is like the traditional Thanksgiving meal, like Christmas and shit, dude. Like 2 years ago, I think we did Italian food, bro. And like the year before that, we did tacos and shit. Like we don't do shit normal around here, bro.
Okay, fair. I also don't know if that is even a thing. Like what I'm talking about.
I mean,
maybe it isn't. But
I think it is because like everyone I've ever known growing up has always been like ham is Easter and turkey is Thanksgiving and Christmas is split.
You might even get both.
Agreed.
You might get turkey and ham.
Agreed. If you have a big enough family, I've heard of people doing that, but it's definitely split amongst the friends that I grew up with. Like I'd say half my friends were turkey, half were ham on Christmas.
That'd be a perfect time actually for like a nice prime rib.
Oh, dude, and see that's
prime rib Christmas.
We do a lot of prime ribs, bro. In my house. That's the one thing we do a lot here, bro.
That's that grown folk holiday.
My dad and my mom are all about smoking a prime rib, dude. Well, my mom's about just prime rib, period. My dad's all about smoke. Honestly, he'll put anything on that fucking smoker, dude.
Yeah, horseradish. Your dad knows what he's doing.
Horseradish.
Fuck horseradish, bro, and sauerkraut.
Have you ever had like creamy horseradish? Like creamy horseradish?
I don't want it at all.
I love good creamy horseradish,
dude. Like
I think that like the taste,
when you have
like the smell,
horseradish with like prime rib roast beef, dude, that is choice. Like that is like perfect, dude. Like I'll even put a little bit of extra horseradish on. Like some people might be like, "Yo, watch."
Think about it this way, Chris.
And then I'm just like, "Yeah, that's cool."
Horseradish for me is like pickles for you, bro. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, no, I'm not even trying to sell you one. I'm basically explaining to people like how much I love horseradish, like on roast beef. I would not eat it on anything else. And I do get carried away, and I will get that like crazy like. Upper nose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I fucking love it too, man. It's just like the same thing as hot food, right? Once I get to a certain point of heat and I start to like feel it and like my nose starts to run a little bit, like that's when I know I'm fucking living. And that's kind of like what I get out of horseradish.
Well, that's the fun thing too, right? It's like horseradish and wasabi, they don't burn the way like the capsaicin peppers burn. Because they have a completely different chemical reaction that causes that hot sensation. And that's why you feel it all up in your sinus and nasal cavity instead of on your palate. And oh man, like I love it. Like there's a restaurant we go to pretty often. And they do a steak fajita quesadilla and a steak and cheese calzone. And both of them come with this horseradish sauce that they make in-house. and it's basically the creamy white horseradish sauce mixed with Parmesan peppercorn salad dressing.
Oh, that's. I'm not saying that sounds bad. That just sounds interesting.
It's got this it creates like a slightly lighter creamy texture, and you get the added peppercorn and almost like a ranch kind of a note to it with the like funk that comes with that horseradish. And like I literally will crave it. Like this discussion we're having, I need to save some money and we need to go to that restaurant so I can get some again because I start craving it. I need to learn how to make it, and I've just never bothered to get the stuff and like see if my suspicion is right or if there's like other things in their version. You know, like are they putting some lemon juice or something in there to like change it a little? I don't know. But oh my god, it's so damn good. And it makes me realize that I need to use horseradish more often. It's a unique ingredient for sure. And I definitely dig a good unique ingredient. And speaking of unique ingredients, when we were on the green room recently, we were talking about AI, and we mentioned the whole like fact that Chat GPT could be a useful tool for something like, you know, coming up with subject matter for a podcast, as an example. And just for fun, I'm gonna pull up Chat GPT. I just kind of want to see like what it uh what it might offer us.
While you're doing that, I'm gonna take a dab, dude. I went to the fucking dispensary yesterday. While you're in the middle of that, I kind of want to talk about, dude. There's this new brand that I found. I don't know what it's called. Where's the fucking box at? Damn it. Yeah, here we go. What's it called? Um, damn it, this one doesn't have the. No. Panacea or some shit.
Panacea, yeah, dude, I know Panacea real well.
These guys, this guy, you know these guys, Sean?
So this might be a different brand, and it might be a case of two different companies,
They
but
spelt the same though.
they are.
Okay,
They are.
okay. I thought I was always pronouncing it wrong for some reason, but anyways, dude, their cold cure rosins, bro, are priced very nicely. They're not like crazy because most time when you get like a cold cure rosin, you're really looking at like, you know, sometimes 75, you know, $80, you know, for some brands. Where these are priced, you know, a little bit like half price sort of like 46 a gram for some of these, dude. And let me tell you, these are some like the tastiest rosins I've had in some time, dude. Like they got that very nice, like they taste like the actual flower terps, you know what I mean? But they're nice and smooth, but like they pack a nice punch, dude. Like this Runts It Up. I had to get some more of it because I got it the last time I was there. Dude, this stuff is so fucking fruity and just tasty and just it makes my mouth water as I'm dabbing it, dude. It's so good.
If it is the same Panacea parent company, then it's the same people who make the Nature's Heritage that I'm always talking about here in Massachusetts, because this is the brand sold in the Panacea dispensaries here in Massachusetts. And so if they are related, because Panacea is owned by a company called MaryMed, and MaryMed is a multi-state, then it's quite possible that your Panacea brand and these guys are the same company. And that'd be dope. Because if the quality is as good there as it is here, like I understand why you're living
for anybody
right
that's
now.
curious, that's kind of just the complexion of this stuff. Super like kind of creamy, like almost like a tannish khaki color, you know what I mean? Like, dude, it is some tasty stuff. I definitely would recommend, if you're going to be dabbing it, lower temp is the better, because you get all the flavor and dude, some good stuff, dude, all around. What you working with over there today, Chris?
Actually, I So like I'm basically going off the very ends of two different cardos of the same strain. Like I realized after one sitting on its side for a while that there's still like a good amount in there. So I was like, oh, okay, well I guess I can just keep on hitting these till I get a dry hit. Like, is that how you guys finish a cardo? I have no idea.
Pretty much, yeah. I'll just go until it won't go anymore.
Okay, yeah, so they're still going. I'm kind of going back and forth.
One thing you could always do too is if you get tired of it and you figure out a way to bust it open, dude, you can always put a little bit of that on a fucking Dynabol. You know what I mean? Put a little globber in there or a little drop of that concentrate, put a little flour in it.
I could probably get behind that.
It'll get you lit.
Yeah, dude, it'll rock your world for sure.
And good old Chat GPT just delivered with some really interesting subjects. And we may have to do some episodes based off of this list already. I can also say we've done some of these topics in past episodes. But I asked Chat GPT, what are some good discussion topics for a cannabis-themed podcast? And it gave me 15 topic points. And there's the history and cultural significance of cannabis use, which is something we've done. The science of cannabis and its effects on the body and mind, which we've done
touched on multiple times. Yeah,
through multiple episodes.
Various.
Cannabis laws and regulation around the world, which we've
kind of
done a little bit of that about Canada and America. So we've touched on that. The business of cannabis, including investment opportunities in emerging markets. Well, we do talk about that a bit since I'm in that business sector. Different strains of cannabis and their unique effects. Wow, we talk about that pretty much every episode. The use of cannabis in medicine and its potential therapeutic benefits. Something we've talked about regularly.
I feel like they're talking about our podcast right now.
The cultural impact of cannabis in music, art, and film. Now that one I think would be an interesting.
We've kind of like danced around that, but never really dove deep into it. I don't think.
You know what I mean? Obviously, like we've had stoner artists aplenty on here, but we've never thought about the overall cultural impact of cannabis in art, which I think is a cool one. The role of cannabis in social justice and equity issues, which I don't feel like any of us are qualified to talk about being Caucasian males. We are not anybody who can probably give adequate perspective on that subject matter. Although I would love to get somebody who maybe could speak on that. I do know somebody who has a social equity license. And so that could be an interesting topic we could get into by having that person on the show. So that's something that might be a potential there. Because again, I'm definitely not qualified to speak on it. Cannabis and spirituality, including its use in religious and spiritual practice. This one I like too. Because
I also don't know if I would be capable of. I could be a part of a discussion, but like I definitely could not speak on that personally.
I would definitely have
research would need to be done.
That's the thing. Like I want to research this subject because I think everybody here can immediately have their brain go to Rastafarianism, right? Like that's like they smoke weed as part of their religion. We know that. But I know
there's evidence way even before that, bro.
And that's the thing.
And here's the thing. A lot of it even has to do with not even cannabis, but psilocybin and mushrooms and those types of things. Believe it or not.
Oh, people go beyond, bro.
Yeah. There's a lot of interesting theories about that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And that might be something we have to read up on and get into at some point. The next one on this list is the intersection of cannabis and wellness, including yoga and meditation, which kind of doubles back on that notion of cannabis and spirituality, because there are definitely people who are using cannabis as part of their meditative practice.
For sure.
I have read that in certain cultures, like the Dalai Lama, for example, believes that using cannabis is a big no-no. because that actually affects your ability to reach enlightenment. So interesting perspective on
Well,
that.
here's the thing, bro. That's the Dalai Lama, and I don't know if you guys heard recently, but he got kids sucking on his tongue and shit. So, like, I don't know how much we could really follow what the Dalai Lama be saying, bro.
Yeah, that was definitely not.
Did you hear about that, dude?
I honestly never heard about that.
Yeah, the
So
Dalai
weird,
Lama,
bro.
the Dalai Lama had to issue an apology because he was caught on a hot microphone asking a young boy to suck his tongue.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
I don't really know much more than that, but I know
Yeah.
that at least that what Sean has said, I know that much at least as a fact. You know what I mean?
I don't know anything else about it either. I saw the headline, read the little chyron below, was like,
I
okay.
was listening to a few podcasts and multiple podcasts brought it up and talked about it. So it's definitely a thing. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, it's definitely real. It's not fake.
Yeah,
Okay,
it definitely
okay.
happened. That's for sure. We've also got different methods of consuming cannabis, including smoking, vaping, edibles, and topicals, all of which we've covered extensively here and
Probably will
experimented
continue.
with. Cannabis tourism and travel, including popular destinations and experiences.
That would be cool.
We've touched on that a little bit for
But
sure.
dive in a little bit more and find out a little bit more about different places and things like that. Because, like, of course, we've touched on, you know, where we may live, but not necessarily like, but Colorado's probably got a pretty crazy tourist sort of thing because they've been doing it for a while. We know Vegas has got a little bit of an experience. You know, I've got to experience a small portion of that, but they probably have way more to probably do with that too now that it's legal there. So who knows, dude?
I believe that, and I agree. We've got the impact of legalization on communities and society as a whole, which, I mean, I'll say this much on that matter. I don't see a huge impact, at least in my local communities that are, you know, operating these establishments. I understand that like money is going back to these communities, but I don't see it how it's used right now.
I actually do see it, but I think that the reason why I might see it somewhat is because like I'm going to like reservations to buy it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so like these people are making like a bunch of money and people are coming from like all over. And you know, there's like new vehicles like rolling around. There'll be like new vehicles and like houses like on the reservation and shit. And you're like, okay. Like there's gotta be like trickle down effect going on here. Like as like the whole system kind of gets more money, it kind of like gets pushed out to everybody else or something like that.
I feel like it benefits Canada too that it's again a federal thing. It's nationwide.
Yeah,
For you
that's what I was
guys.
gonna say too, Sean. It's for you. You might not see it as much in your direct community because it's on a fucking state, you know, level sort of thing.
Well, it's
So
even
it's
at
like,
town by town level though, right? Because like
that too. Depending on each town and what their regulations and their fucking availability is for locations and stuff like that. Yeah, that's definitely gonna put an impact. But I will say this though. On the flip side, I will say I don't see a negative out effect in any way. I don't think.
I see this one negative, and I think it's inevitable. It doesn't matter what business it is. This is going to be a negative for any business in any township, but it's an increase in litter from that particular business, right? Like working for my dispensary around my locations, I see products that we sell and the packaging being littered around the neighborhoods that our buildings operate in. And that is a shame. Unfortunately, some people are just going to be that way, and there's nothing that we as those agencies can do.
And I don't necessarily think that's geared strictly towards your type of business.
That's what
I
I'm
think
saying.
that could
No,
be
it's
any.
anything.
It could have been a liquor store that opened up there, and everybody's. So
a
yeah,
goddamn gas station.
I see where you're coming from on that. Yeah, like, but any new business that opens up anywhere is going to create some new source.
That's it. That's my one negative. I see.
Yeah.
Like,
but I also do see possibility for improvements or, you know, positive effects in the future based off of not just financial, but based off of, mental health and, the betterment of the just general population, and them being able to access, whatever, they may need and be able to help them along their way, sort of thing. And who knows?
Well, I mean,
That could create it.
I have seen articles that like there are, for example, school systems who've been able to make purchases of new equipment or things like that because of the revenue that's been generated from cannabis taxes. Because in Massachusetts, at least, every municipality has the ability to apply up to a 3% tax on cannabis products. So on top of the already established cannabis tax and the already established state sales tax, there's also a municipal tax of up to 3%. So like when I talk about people paying 20% tax in Massachusetts, they have to pay the sales tax, they have to pay the cannabis tax, and they have to pay a 3% municipal tax. And that 3% goes directly to the town that store operates in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so even if it means like better sidewalks or like newer fucking like parquets or whatever, you know what I mean?
So that's the hope, right?
Yeah.
Well, that is the hope. Yeah.
That's the hope, is that it leads to,
but at the end of the day,
infrastructure.
We all know what happens when it gets into the fucking local or fucking,
Well, and that's the thing that worries me.
That's when you see like some fucking, upper fucking municipality kind of member like rolling around in like their new Benzo.
Yeah. We all know how it works.
Yeah, like I think of that.
It's so fucking unfortunate, dude.
Not everybody's honestly a shitbag.
Like when I really just like sit down and think about like the way things operate and like who's actually in control of certain things and who actually gets to make the decisions on behalf of the entire fucking country, at least here in the US, it really fucking bums me out, bro. You know what I mean? It really fucking bums me out.
Yeah, man. American politics is terrifying.
Like, I don't want to dive into it really because I'm not really a political guy. I don't really know. It's too much. Like, I just don't like really talk about it. You know what I mean? I have my opinions on certain things and I keep it at that. I'm open to hear other people's, but I'm not, trying to.
At the end of the day,
it's just
I think I can summarize the absurdity of politics in general like this.
The system's broken.
Yeah, there are people who are making decisions for us who can't understand how an iPhone works.
That's the thing, is they're not adjusted to the times they're making the decisions for. You know what I mean? And that's part of the problem, as well as it's not necessarily in the betterment of people, it's in for the betterment of business and a lot of times. And that's what really fucking pisses me off, because a lot of it's about, we've talked about this before. When it comes down to like anything that really happens in the States, when you look down to the nitty gritty of it, mainly comes down to whatever fucking money's being pushed around.
Follow the money. That's how we got cannabis legal.
Yeah,
follow the money.
It's fucking unfortunate.
It's crazy. But to kick back to more positive notions,
please. Let's. You know what? I need to get high again.
Yeah, keep hitting that. Because we got two more suggestions that it hit us with. It says the history and current state of the cannabis industry in your specific region or country, which is something that we do discuss quite often here. And I know like it's getting scary in Massachusetts, the way the cannabis industry is shaping up. And I mean, even California, you guys are hitting that same wall that we did, where it's like there's an oversupply and just not enough demand.
It's a weird thing, bro, because like it's changed so much in the past few years here in like this state alone, and going to stores now and just seeing the amount of things that are available and how many different companies are offering the same exact product, you know what I mean, or the same product and the same strains, and it's just a different name or this and that. And I'm just like, dude, there's just so much. Mm-hmm. There's so much. Like you guys see, whenever I come back from the dispensary, how often do I have the same shit?
Rarely.
Hardly ever. You know what I mean? Like this time I came home, I have 8 new strains of stuff in here. There may be one thing in here I've tried before, but like all the rest of them are things that I haven't tried, and that's why they're in here. You know what I mean? Because me, I like options, and I like to try things, and it also gives me things to talk about here on the podcast too. But dude, it's wild, bro.
Dude, like it's crazy. Put this into perspective. The biggest multi-state operator in the country is Curaleaf, and they've pulled their entire operation out of California.
Really?
There isn't a Curaleaf to be seen in California anymore.
Is that because of like the competition or just because?
Yes, because there's so much product and so much competition in the market that for them, they cannot keep a strong enough foothold that they'd rather pull out and commit those resources to newer growing markets.
Because dude, there's and the thing too in California is you have like two different markets too here in California because you've got the Southern California market and you've got the Northern California market, and they're different, bro. They're not the same. You know what I mean? Because Northern, there's a lot more, family owned, farms and that sort of thing. But there's also a lot of corporations that have gone in and fucking, hired some of these, master growers and things like that to build these operations more based off the old school sort of methods and that sort of thing. And then down here in SoCal, you get a lot more of the big, indoor, multi fucking grow an operation going where it's like they renting out these huge warehouses, doing like all the crazy scientific shit, making all these crazy like, and you got fucking stuff flooding from Northern California down here and Southern California up there. And then of course we're taking all of our stuff and sending it other places. Dude, it's nutty out here, bro.
Well, and
Because the
that
state is so big and the two different climates that you have to grow in are so different. You know what I mean? Because Southern California climate's way different than the Northern California climate. You know what I mean?
For sure. And that kind of actually leads us to this last point in here, which is the environmental impact of cannabis cultivation and the future of sustainable practices in the industry. And I mean, that's something that California dealt with before legalization. Was there was too much weed being grown and not enough water to grow it. And now we have legal where California's in a permanent drought basically, and we're growing even more weed, which needs more water.
Yeah.
It's
I actually never even thought of that.
It's insane the amount of water that it takes to grow a full cycle of cannabis in like the legal industry. And when you think about that compounded across the hundreds, if not thousands, of operators in just California, now compound that across all the legal states, right? Like that's a lot of water getting used. And one of the crazy things is that that water gets treated with all sorts of uh different nutrients, things like that. And whatever those plants don't use is still left in that water. Now, if that water is just going into our waste systems, what are those increased nutrients doing to the water supply? Increased potassium, phosphates, nitrates, those sort of things in the water system just increased at that level across the entirety of all legal states, or in your case in Canada, the entire country.
Do you think that like that just won't kind of like force people to like come up with strains that need less water, stuff like that, and like those will be like California strains?
Well, I
something
mean,
like that?
I think that doing that stifles the industry and the consumer market, right? Because that takes away desirable things that people want. I think the idea that at least I'm starting to see some people do is that they need to come up with sustainable water practice. So like collecting rainwater on your building and using that as part of your supply. Water remediation, so that you're basically scrubbing that water clean before you introduce nutrients to it for the next grow. Um, I think you're onto something with more drought resistant strains being engineered as well. But there has to be a solution to keep those those legacy strains that people want that are gonna require more water.
Yeah, but I mean, like theoretically, right? Like it's one of those things that everyone doesn't have to have the ability to do everything that they want, right? And you don't all have to be good at something. You could, or like the same shit, right? So like there could be like somebody who's like a smaller grower and like they might have like a certain amount of water that they're allowed to use and they can manage to make that work for just like a lower amount of plants. Right. And so they're going hard on like the quality over the quantity and like they're hitting their mark. Um that's what I think maybe it would get to. Like if it did go that like, that way, like where there were certain restrictions or whatever it happens to be. It's not like, yo, you can just have as much water as you're willing to pay for. But if you can like figure out ways or like you have certain strains that are like more okay with not getting watered as much, all these different things, right? Like it just makes me wonder if like how long it would take for it to get to that point. Because you're right, like that will obviously like bring a lot more water and even just like fertilizers and certain things, right? So like think about if you like owned a fertilizer company that specialized in something that like cannabis plants needed, like dang dude, your stocks would have just fucking mooned at this point. Because you'd be going crazy. Because like there are so many people that are fucking growing weed and all that stuff. I guess there's like so many fringe things that have to do with the growth of like the cannabis business and like legalization in like states and nations and shit like that. That really like you don't necessarily think of right away that were just booming because of it. Like fertilizer companies or like whatever it happens to be. Even like the people that would make like the little like seed starters,
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I thought it just came to my mind that we already have those drought resistant, less water reliant strains. They're the landrace strains, the shit that our parents grew up with. You know what I mean? Like a lot of those were the strains that grew wild in their native lands, and they lived and thrived on whatever little water they came by. And in some cases, they were native to very arid, dry climates. So those genetics definitely already exist. So there's already a starting point for
Yeah, the
that
problem is
project.
we've just bred it all out of them
Well,
over the years because we've gone, like we've talked about here before, Sean. We've all gone tack hunter and fucking wanting to get the highest THC. So we've genetically modified all these fucking strains over the past years to where you need these large amount of waters and nutrients to fucking get these strains to perform like you want them to. When back in the day, like Sean said, you did have these landrace strains that were, they adapted to whatever environment they were from and were still able to survive with whatever nature threw at them compared to us having to add all this and that to the soil or the water or geez, I didn't catch my breath after that dab, dude. I ran out of breath.
Well, I mean, we do have people
breathe.
Yeah,
like our friend from a previous episode, Mass Medical Strains, who is basically obsessed with trying to preserve those landrace strains and work with them more exclusively. And so there's definitely innovation happening there. And I think that's kind of exciting future. Like I know the folks over here actually at Ocean Breeze, these guys with their little cool fishermen, they actually use a lot of Mass Medical Strains genetics. And so it's kind of cool to see that some of his ethos is already making its way into the industry. And I mean, there's so many new things that are popping out now. Like somebody just released a powdered distillate drink mix that's basically just the flavored powdered distillate and what looks almost like a pixie stick. And it can be used either directly by just opening it and pouring it into any beverage, or you can peel off this little piece on the side, and it acts as a diffuser. So you could just pop this little stick inside your drink, and it'll just gently diffuse into your beverage as you're drinking. So innovation in the industry for sustainability is happening all the time, and I think it's super exciting that these things are happening. Speaking of things that are happening, I do want to just kind of completely diverge into a quick tangent and say that I don't know where it's happening. I haven't seen it happen yet, but we are now monetized, gentlemen.
Where?
On the podcast. We are running monetized ads on the podcast now. And so our listeners will have been hearing ads, and I'm not entirely sure where they land. I don't know if it's popping up like at the beginning or the end of the episode, or if they just throw it in the middle. But yeah, our podcasting platform has said that we are eligible to monetize this show, and it is helping us run ads now on the show. And so if you guys want to go support any of those ads, it'll definitely help us out and help the podcast. And
yeah, hopefully they give us good ads. And you know, thanks listeners for making this a reality. It's like we're you listening to us has now made it so you have to hear ads. But thank you.
Well,
thank you very much.
Here's the thing. From what I understand, it's other podcasts on the platform. And so now we also are eligible to be ads, I think. So I have to read more into it. But there's a potential that we could be running Shedtime podcast ads as well on other people's podcasts that are related to our show. So Shedhead Nation could be growing.
Dude. That'd be
Let's
sick.
go.
And maybe that's the reason for those strange, mysterious jump in numbers.
Oh, hey, you know what? I'll just embrace it.
So either way, shout out to all the new listeners out there. We appreciate y'all. And to all of our regular listeners, thank you for helping us get this far, because, yo, what an opportunity that was to find out we could do that this week.
Dude, that's sick, bro. I've been monetized on YouTube for so long, but I just don't monetize because otherwise my videos would just get me strikes.
Yeah, dude.
It's so unfortunate, bro.
I have a secret YouTube channel I've never talked about that is strictly designed for monetization, and I just have not done enough with it yet to actually like get it to do much, like to make it monetizable. But it already has a shitload of followers without me trying to do anything, just from the one piece of content on it. So if I actually put some time and effort into this, I could probably have a fully monetizable YouTube revenue stream. And the sick thing is that I'm doing next to nothing to create the content, because it's literally just a looping video clip and some music.
That works though.
I started one of those like chill out meditation music type channels. And it's already got followers without me even trying to promote it, just because of the content that it is. So I got to create more content for it, but at some point that will become monetizable, and it'll just become a YouTube revenue stream. It's passive income, strictly from just some cool chill beats that I've already made and had sitting in my archives, and then I just threw up there and looped on YouTube with a video. It's kind of wild.
That is kind of wild, dude. Just like all the little things are like crazy that you can do, right? Like, you know, you hear about people monetizing so many different things, and like, man, I was hearing not that long ago, it was probably in like the last couple of months, like there's like people out there that are just like regular people, like traditionally speaking, like a regular person. They created like a TikTok, it fucking popped off, and like they make a bunch of money. Like, to me, it seems like a bunch of money. Or maybe just some people wouldn't be, but like there's like people that are making like, you know, $5,000-$10,000 a month, and like when I say it popped off, like I don't even know. It's like they might not even get that many like views. I have no idea how it even works, but like they're like just doing shit. It's crazy. Like and you would do that from anywhere in the world, bro. Like, well, you could literally be in like the poorest country, the richest country, you know, whatever it is.
It's like we've all done it. If any of us are on YouTube or TikTok or not, maybe not so much YouTube, but like Instagram, TikTok, those kind of platforms, um, and we ever get just caught up with like the little animal videos, right? Like, how many times have I been just scrolling and it's a cute cat video and it's another cute cat video, and then eventually what happens? I see the cute cat video, but right stitched after it is an ad for like a cat litter mat or some nice fancy cat litter scooper or some cat treat, right? Every time I watch those, I'm helping that person continue to get monetization on their channel. And it's just like it's so cleverly deceptive because it's so simple. All those channels do, or all those pages do, is reshare cute animal videos that are in that specific niche from all over the platform, and then stitched a little ad in at the end, and boom, they're making cake. It's crazy. It's
It's
crazy.
just making me think I need to help my mom out with her dog, her like our dog Instagram thing that she's got going for her Goldens. Because she, like, I was just scrolling through it right now as we were talking about it, and she doesn't have any hashtags.
Oh yeah, with the importance of hashtags the way they
Dude,
work now.
she got to get in the algorithm. She's not in the algorithm without the hashtags.
Yep.
So I bet you as soon as she makes one little puppy video with hashtags in it and posts it, she's gonna get way more views on it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 100%.
And then all you got to do, the crazy part about that too, is all you got to do is just like create all your hashtags one time, copy them, like fucking save them to like a little clipboard, you know what I mean? Or a little sticky note on your phone or whatever your notepad is. And then every time you make a post, you just copy it and paste it.
Well, and the crazy thing is that hashtags aren't like they were a few years ago when like we were heavy in the vape scene and we were posting all that stuff all the time, right? Like hashtags now for the algorithm help to categorize the reels. So basically, like for Shedtime, for an example, the more I use cannabis hashtags, the less we're going to show up in people's feeds. So instead, it's like you have to trickle in maybe one or two cannabis hashtags in there, but you have to use other ones that maybe refer to other things that are part of the subject matter. Otherwise, you start to get shadow banned. Now with the animals, it's super easy, right? Like, just nothing is going to get you shadow banned.
That's exactly what I'm saying. So as soon as she starts typing in hashtag puppy,
yeah,
dude,
like literally,
it's over, bro.
She needs
it's
puppy
over.
and golden retriever, and that's basically it.
It's
maybe
over.
Maybe hashtag love, and boom, that's it. She's going viral in no time.
I'll tell you what, bro. These
fast.
fucking puppies are fucking cute as shit, dude. The ones that we got right now are already a pound, dude. Like 3 days old. Fucking pound.
It's crazy. They grow so fast.
Yeah, this one was a rough one though, man. But it's crazy.
Dude, honestly, like I love watching animals grow up. I think it's so cool. Dude. And it happens so fast too that it's not like you know, it's like, oh, you know, wow, like it's been a year and you've grown so much. It's like, yo, like every week, like you notice a difference, dude. Like a month is fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like dogs can go from like when they're born to like being like a month old and being like 5-6 pounds.
Well, dude, here's the thing, bro. When they're first born, they can't hear anything, they can't see nothing. They're just working straight off their nose, bro. And as soon as they come out, they know exactly where to go, dude. Which is crazy. They start wiggling around like little worms and make it straight to where the milk is. You know what I mean? And start chowing down. And then within like the first like 2 weeks is when their eyes open. And then their eyes are open, but they still can't hear you. And they still can't quite see you really either.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking crazy. I used to actually like love watching like baby fish grow up. Like I remember the first time that I like raised a fish, and then it like got it mated, whatever, however you want to say it. I was like, yo, this is fucking wild. Like, I literally have like this fish that is from this mom and like that dad, and like it is now like having babies. Like it's so fucking crazy. Cause like I used to the way that I would do it is like I would keep certain ones and I'd like try to like keep the lines of the fish like separate. So here's the thing, like I had wild caught fish. So I knew like certain males and there'd be like certain males they would like breed and other ones were like subdominant and they would not breed. So like if I took out like a couple fish, then I could just like let the other males like do their thing, and then I'd have like all these fresher ones, and then I'd like reintroduce the dominant males back in, and like I kind of would just like slowly build out like an army of fish, I guess, and then I would just like pick the best looking ones that like fit the description, kind of like the prototypical description of like that fish, and then I would just grow them out and they would get added back in. So like I'm sure that there at some level there would be inbreeding, but like I don't think that really I'm
No,
not
I
like
mean,
purposely
I
trying to
don't
do
know
that.
how that works with fish.
I don't think it works quite the same as like
it
humans.
I mean, it does to an extent, but it depends on the species. Like the guppy tank behind me, they're inbred like a motherfucker. But with guppies, they're already so inbred that it's not as big of an issue. I know for like you with the cichlids can like uh the German blue rams, for example. They're so heavily inbred to get that electric blue color that like they're very prone to disease. They're very fragile fish now. You do get a lot of ones that like just they've got genetic deficiencies and they don't survive. And meanwhile, you get our standard Bolivian ram. It's as hardy as the day is long. You know, it's almost a bulletproof, and they're literally 2-3 genes apart from each other. You know what I mean?
I like
So
how you
Yeah,
just I like how you're just pulling out random sayings right now though, Sean. That was kind of cool. Hardy as the day is long, bro.
yeah,
It's
of
just like
course.
just throwing it out there all nonchalant, like we're not
Yeah.
gonna notice.
Yeah. It's fucking all dad like up in this piece. But
Dude,
like
I like it, bro. I just want to make sure I, respect.
I appreciate it. But like I relate to Chris's notion of watching them grow, because like in this tank, those are all my fish that have been bred under my care. All of my males, all of my females in there are the ones that are, from various generations under my care.
they've been born in your possession.
Yes, like the initial adults that I first bought are long gone, because something I've learned is that my local fish store gets a lot of adult fish. So that's a plus and a minus, right? When I'm doing something like stocking the big tank, it's great because like my serpes, they're dark fish, but you can see them moving because they're adult size already. But like in the case of the guppies, buying adult size guppies, that meant that I had about 6 months with them before they died. But in
But
that
they
time,
left behind a legacy.
they sired plenty of babies. And, there's probably 5 or 6 different generations of fish in this tank right now.
How many fish are in that little tank?
Um,
Like if you were to guess.
if I had to guess, there's probably 15 like juvenile, and there's probably another 6 or 8 like babies that were just born in it in the last few weeks.
Oh wow.
Watching the guppy birth is a trip because it's live bearing.
Yeah,
So you literally just watch it shit out a tiny fish.
This it swims. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like this little thing drops out and it's like, bye, I'm gonna hide now. It's so weird. So weird. It's been fun though, because like now I'm at a stage that the certain tanks have really settled in. Like this one's finally settling in. The guppy tanks finally settling in. The big Tetra tank is basically been settled. The big one upstairs is settled in now. So like I'm excited. It means that the big one's ready for new fish.
What kind of fish are you gonna get?
I haven't fully figured that part out. It's gonna be a go to the store and see kind of a situation. Cause like that tank right now just has my puffer fish. So one tiny little dwarf puffer fish. So it can't be anything that's gonna fuck with her, but it also can't be, too crazy because it's only a 30 gallon.
Yeah.
So, I gotta decide once I get there. I'm hoping for something that's gonna be it's gonna be cool. It's gonna fit that setup because I haven't put too much video of it out on my Instagram yet.
Yeah, I
But
was gonna say I think I've only seen it a few times here, like either before or after a show.
yeah, like I've shown you guys a photo or two, but that's about all I've done. I've been letting it settle in, and I'm very happy with the way that one came out. And now that the plants keep growing in and everything, like growing plants underwater is harder than it seems.
I wouldn't even know, dude. The only I tried to have a guppy tank like probably about 10, 15 years ago. And it lasted like a month, I think. And I only had like 2 or 3 guppies in it. And yeah, I just didn't have the attention span, I guess, or I was just couldn't just my interest just wasn't kept. Like I was into it for like I said, like maybe like a month. And then after that, like I just stopped paying attention to it or I'd forget about it. And I'm like, oh shit. And then I look at it and like one's just upside down. I'm like, oh fuck. Well, I don't think this is for me. As much as I love looking at them and shit like that, I just couldn't keep up with the upkeep. Well, at that time I was doing a lot of running around, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And I was never home. So like I always just forget to tend to the tank. And it's something you got to do when you got fish. You got to keep an eye on them, pay attention, make sure your water levels are cool. And you know what I mean?
I mean, that's the thing, right? And like, I'm glad that we're at a stage now that like with social media, YouTube, things like that like there's so much information you can learn, so many different ways to approach things that like I've been learning about how to create fully bioactive systems where the end goal is that you don't have to do water changes. You basically just have to feed your fish and top the water off once in a while. And it's like that's the dream right there, man.
Yeah.
But that's what leads to growing plants underwater is a lot harder than you think.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like I tried to do the fish, couldn't do the fish, so I couldn't imagine trying to do plants because I'm sure it's like a totally different thing. You know what I mean? Making sure you have the right fucking substrate or whatever you need for them to fucking, be able to feed properly and,
Well,
be able to.
you know from growing weed, right? Like,
Oh yeah, it's the same.
different
I'm
strains
sure it's
need
a
different
very
nutrients.
exactly. It's a similar thing, but I can only imagine what it's like for underwater plants because then you also have to worry about the water itself because they're continuously in it. You know what I mean? Compared to only just watering it once or twice, it's a different situation.
It's weird, man. Like it's weird. And that has been, I think, what has kept me engaged in it for the better part of 2.5, almost 3 years now. Is that like, if you're just putting fish in a glass box and watching fish, that can be cool, but it can also lose its interest. But when you're watching like plants grow and trying to like learn how to maximize the growth of the plants and utilize the animals that are living amongst those plants to make those plants grow and balance that little world that you've created, that's I think what has kept me in it. Is that, like, I'm fascinated by what it takes to make it to the point where I don't have to do anything. That's why like the plants that grow out of the top of them and everything, that's where they come in. They keep that water perfect. So like I'm getting to a point I don't have to do water changes. And then I can just sit back and enjoy it more. At the end of the day, that's what we all want, right? We all
Yeah.
just want to have the
I
fish
just want to
tank
look
and
at
not
the
have to do
fish,
the
bro.
hard work.
I just want to stare at the fish, bro. That's why I like going to aquariums and shit.
Dude, that's actually why I always liked cichlid tanks, because there's nonstop
Dude, there's
action.
a lot of movement, bro, in a cichlid tank.
Yeah, there's a lot of action, and like you see like how it all, like the whole like society of the fish work,
Yeah,
right?
because
Like
you see like the schooling happening and like the fucking.
or you'll see like ones that are like guarding certain spots, and you can tell that that's their spot. Then you'll see them like trying to like mate with fish, and like they'll go out there and be like shaking it up, and you'll see things getting chased around.
I've
You'll
always
see
like
little
mixed
baby fish
species
coming from
tanks, though.
rocks, and
I've always like seeing it like a mix, you know, in there in like tanks, to where it's like you got like maybe like a small set of schooling fish, as well as like maybe a couple of different other types, to where it's like you're looking at like a small ecosystem of like, you know, different things going on.
oh yeah. I think that like there's a difference between like people that are trying to. Okay, so there's like different levels of hobbyists, right? So like I think that there's people that'll be like trying to be like doing things like Sean, right? Like where they're trying to make like a full ecosystem and like have
Build a
everything kind of line
landscape, yeah.
up and like landscaping within the tank. And then there'll be people that are like just strictly breeding for like genetics of like creating like the dopest looking angelfish and certain things like that. And then there's like people that will be just looking for like the best community tanks, and like they'll not necessarily be into like the actual, you know, aquaculture or whatever it's called, but they'll be going for just like, I want these to look really good. And then you'll have other people that might just try to like create like a real spot for where they're at, and it might not necessarily have anything to do with plants, but it could be just like rocky shales or like all these different things within it, and they'll like try to create, so they'll be like, oh well, there'd be a lower water fish, a mid water fish, and a top water fish, and then they'll try to like put that all together. And like, so there's so many different
there's
ways,
levels
bro.
to this shit, baby. There's levels to this shit.
You can literally enjoy so many different parts of it.
I want to do a biotope at some point, which is what you were just describing last. And like it's kind of a cool idea, right? Because the idea is like, let's take fucking, we could take, you know, the neon tetra as an example. People will go and research where it's found in the wild and look at like underwater video of the natural habitat of that fish, and then they'll just go to like painstaking lengths and be like, all right, well, in that they were in, you know, dark, heavily dark brown tanned water with just a lot of twigs and leaf litter, you know, and that's what they'll create. And it'll be so cool.
Have you seen the guys that do like the crazy, like sort of like diorama sort of aspects, to where it's like they build like, you know, maybe like a sunken city, or like a fucking, they do like the legit like pirate ship situation, but of course they make sure that it's all, you know, watertight, to where you can, you know, fill it and like actually have like a little fucking shipwreck, or, you know, a little, I've seen one where they've done like a little fucking it was like a crazy like horror theme sort of situation with like this weird like acrylic encased like fucking prehistoric like shark thing or something in it, and it had like all these crazy looking, you know, fish in it, and it was pretty dope. But dude, there's so many
some
things
dope
out there,
ones
dude.
in that scene, because like I seen a dude, he took a shallow tank, so you know, maybe like 8 inches tall, but he set it up to look like a little riverside shack in like Vietnam or something like that. And so he like literally made the full on porch with the poles down into the water, the whole nine, and then stocked it with some little rice fish and stuff. But it was so high detailed that if you took a picture of it, you know, close up enough,
it looked like a real landscape.
Yeah, you wouldn't know that this was just a little fish tank that this guy had built on a table. You would think it was a photo from like actually in the jungle somewhere.
Dude, I've seen those ones where the people make the fucking the little water bridges like between two tanks. Those are sick, dude. And then you see like the different fucking fish going through like the fucking tube from one tank to the next.
There's a dude from Canada, the king of DIY, that made a sick one.
I've seen him. I've seen that one.
Yeah,
there was a while, Sean. believe it or not, before you got into like the whole like aquascaping stuff, to where I was just watching him on YouTube all the time. You know, I fell into one of those rabbit holes where I got like in. That was also when I was like really into like watching those fishing videos and shit. I was for some reason I just got into fish. I don't know why, dude. It was one of those things that just all of a sudden like fish are cool, and so I just started watching all kinds of fish stuff. But anyways, dude, I was watching all those guys, like that guy. What's his name? Coral.
Yeah,
Something.
Coral King.
Yeah,
which he recently changed his name on YouTube. So
there's like this young kid too, who was like doing like, what was his name? Fuck. Anyways, I used to watch a couple dudes, and they do some crazy shit, dude.
Yeah, we're talking about these dioramas. Made me think of this. Let this thing go ahead and focus.
Yeah.
Like, hold on, I have to watch again there so we can actually see it without the damn thing in the way. But like a whole like elven style like fantasy village, and it's still a functioning fish tank down below. It's beautiful.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
That's exactly what I'm talking about, though. Like, where they'll take like a pretty deep tank and only like maybe fill, you know, a quarter to like, you know, half the tank, and then like build like a crazy like cityscape or like little fucking forest.
He's got legit little miniature people that he's now added into it. So like it's a full-on scene with like little pirate people and everything. Look at this.
Dude, that's nutty.
This dude is straight killing it.
Oh, he's got
dude. See, like
shrimp.
this is like just the proof, right? That like some people can just take shit next level, even just like as hobbyists, you know?
Yeah.
Like they can go fucking crazy. I remember like this is probably going back like 15 years ago now. Is like when I started to get into like cichlids, like African cichlids. And there was this lady, her name was Pam Chin. She was from like California. And dude, she had like this full out fish house. It was like probably like a 2-car garage style like size. And she just had like, it was like a full out fish store, like a legit, like unbelievable fish room at a fish store. And all she had was African cichlids. That is it. She like had been to like Africa like multiple times. She was like on cichlidforum.com, and like she was like, you know, super well respected. But dude, that minute I saw like some videos of this lady's fish room, I was like, yo, like that's fucking goals, bro. Like this lady had literally like so many different species from like the lake, and she would have like just such next level shit. And I'm like, yo, this is like what happens when people that have like a passion / obsession have like made it in life where they can afford to do something like this.
For real.
You know what I mean? Because like there might be people that can afford it, but they might not have the passion. This is like where like people can afford it and the passion like meet, and you're like, this is crazy. Because dude, it looked immaculate. Like the place looked immaculate. It was phenomenal.
That's where I'm headed, man. But like on the whole notion of like people doing weird things like that too. How about this? This is somebody who's put little terrariums sealed inside a tank. So those are terrestrial plants in sealed glass bubbles inside an actual fish tank.
That's nice.
Okay, so what are they? How do they do that? Like, how does that work? Like,
you've never seen glass terrariums? They're full on ecosystems that are built within these little encapsulated things, to where like they create their own environment with their own oxygen, carbon, whatever sort of situation they need going on in there, and they actually survive on their own without any, you know, interaction. To where it's like you could do something like that, I guess, as long as they're watertight, and fucking put them in there, and they'll just survive on their own.
Huh? That's crazy.
For him to maintenance those, he'll literally have to drain the tank and take it apart. Because
well, that's why I was wondering, right? Because like I was thinking, like, oh, it is when he does a water change, is there like a little like piece that goes on the top of that you can then like not drain all of the water out, but there's like a little plug at the very top where you could like take it off, let some air get into it once it's like the water's low enough.
Basically, like he built those orbs, planted everything, put all the stuff inside. And like James said, they're fully bioactive. So they have all the nutrients they need inside. They've got like little springtails and little pill bugs that are living in there that are helping to like eat decaying matter and all that. And then he's literally sealed it completely shut. It is airtight. And then the bottom is literally siliconed to the bottom of the tank. So like he will literally have to take that whole tank apart if he ever wants to like trim those plants. But at the end of the day, like a quick mist in there, what's going to happen is obviously heat's going to create the evaporation that's going to come up to the top of the jar. It's going to cool when the lights go off and condense, drip back down the sides, and keep the plants watered. So it's like a little rainforest inside of a glass jar.
Pretty crazy.
And then he stuck it inside of a damn fish tank because why not?
Yeah.
He's like, I've done all these other things with terrariums. Let's try this. That kid's an animal. Like I don't know if you've ever heard of a cloche. I think it's a cloche bottle. A Klein bottle. That's what it is. Not a cloche. It's a Klein bottle. So the Klein bottle is a 4-dimensional object here in the 3rd dimension. So a 4th dimensional object is an object that rotates and twists inside of itself to create a multitude of different shapes. And a Klein bottle is a glass blower's best way of trying to recreate this concept without being able to obviously be in the 4th dimension. So here we go. I'll go to the focus again and show you this Klein bottle so you see what I'm talking about. Yeah, there we go. Oh, I didn't want to go shopping for one. So this is a 3D rendering of the idea of a Klein bottle. So as you can see, if this is your fill point, it's going to actually come through itself, and then fill that outer bulb.
That's
and
crazy.
So glass blowers have figured out how to basically make this thing like this. So it is a representation of a 4th dimensional object in the 3rd dimensional plane. And this kid built a terrarium and run. So was able to stuff plants to grow inside a bottle like this.
Don't understand how, but okay.
A lot of patience and like making homemade tools in order to like properly push like mosses and things all the way down that neck and then put them where he wants. Somebody who's clearly got way more patience than I ever will.
Way too much time on his hands, or way more patience than I do.
That's a man who clearly makes his money on YouTube, and so it's worth having that patience.
Yeah, I guess so, dude.
He's like, I'm gonna get 1 million views by doing this. I'm gonna get 1 million views by doing this.
Does it actually show him doing it, or does it just show a set of hands?
Yeah. It's a full-on tutorial video.
No, but what I'm saying is, does it show him like from like, torso up actually doing it, or is it just showing a set of hands doing it? Because maybe you just pay somebody fucking else to do it. Because like, I ain't got time for this shit, but I'll pay you to do it for me, and then I'll talk about it when we go to the up tops.
Though that's possible, I don't believe that's the case.
I don't think so, but that would be hilarious.
But hey, shit, man, if I had that money, let's be real. How many YouTube channels are we all watching right now that aren't really created by a single person? It's
just a set of hands, bro, most of the times. You know what I'm saying? And those hands may be looking different.
That's it. I mean, I watch so many of these like list videos where like you don't even need to put somebody on camera to make them, right?
It's just you like just have someone narrate it.
A top 20 video clip. And yeah, that's the thing. Like the narrator voice changes, and not just in a I'm too close, too far away from the mic, or I changed.
It's like one day it's a boy, one day it's
yeah. One day he's Romanian. How did this happen?
Yeah.
but yeah, like that's the thing. Like there's an estimate that something like 80% of the top grossing YouTube channels are just run by AI algorithms. Just people using, you know, generators and things like that to slap these videos together and get millions of views on monetized channels.
Dude, there's probably like so many different tricks that you can use, like even just like using algorithms for, or sorry, using like trying to figure out algorithms through AI, like might even be possible. You know what I mean?
Oh, I 100% bet. With that, I still have ChatGPT up. Let's ask him. Uh, how do I use the YouTube algorithm to maximize my revenue stream? Getting all technical up
Dude,
in
there's gonna
this.
be like the craziest long answer too.
Uh-huh. So here, oh man, here it goes. It is spitting game at me fast. So this ought to be interesting to see. Holy crap. It's got 6 great points, I guess. It says the YouTube algorithm is designed to surface content that will engage viewers and keep them watching, which in turn increases the likelihood of ads being viewed and generating revenue. Here are some tips to help maximize your revenue stream using the YouTube algorithm. Consistently create high quality content. The algorithm favors creators who produce quality content that keeps viewers watching for longer periods of time. Ensure that your videos are visually appealing, engaging, and informative. Optimize your video titles, descriptions, and tags. Use relevant keywords in your titles, descriptions, and tags to increase the likelihood that your videos will appear in search results. This can help attract new viewers and increase your revenue. Encourage viewers to subscribe. The algorithm rewards channels with a high subscriber count, so encourage viewers to subscribe to your channel by adding a call to action at the end of your videos. Use end screens and annotations. Use end screens and annotations to promote your other videos, which can increase watch time and keep viewers engaged with your content. Engage with your audience. Respond to comments and engage with your audience to build a loyal following. This can lead to increased views, likes, and shares, which can boost your revenue. Analyze your analytics. Use YouTube analytics to track the performance of your videos and identify areas for improvement. This can help you make data-driven decisions to increase engagement and revenue. Remember, building a successful YouTube channel takes time and effort. Consistently producing quality content that engages your audience is the key to maximize your revenue stream using the YouTube algorithm. Pretty solid advice, actually.
Yeah, no, that's not bad. That's not bad at all.
I
AI for the W today. That's what I'm gonna say. I feel like AI can be used for so many good things. I'm sure that it can be used for bad things too, but there's like a bunch of things because I think that we discussed it. I think it was on like a Friday night show though, when you were mentioning that like the online descriptions of like certain, products were getting utilized from like Chat GPT and shit like that. But dude, I was even thinking about it more recently. I was like, yo, like how dope would it be to like create like lore for certain things? You know what I mean? Like let's say that like you, for example, like I was thinking of an NFT project. Like you could literally have like put in all your keywords and you could like create your own lore around like an NFT project or like a character. It doesn't matter. You could make your own story, whatever. Like there's so many different things that like if you're lacking creativity or like your grammatical skills aren't like up to point, um like all those things could help you. You know what I mean? So there is good. I'm sure there is bad that comes from stuff like ChatGPT, but
I'm going to go ahead and ask ChatGPT for a story to close this episode with. So I'm asking ChatGPT, tell me a short story about 3 friends who got stoned together and went on an adventure.
I'm honestly very curious as to what it's going to say.
It scolded me for not for apparently trying to send a second message too fast. So I must have hit my enter too fast. I hit it twice. So let's try that again.
It's like, hey, user, you're a bad person. Show some friggin' patience.
Yo, it does not want to tell me a story about this.
Maybe you have to do like write a story.
It might have to do with being stoned. That might be the problem.
Let's see. We're gonna try this again.
Attempt number 3. I feel like this time we're due. We're due for some success. ChatGPT, pull through first, please. Show us what it's all about.
Oh, stale.
What?
Stale.
What happened?
Well, friends, this was a bust. ChatGPT's response to, please tell me a story about 3 friends who got stoned and went on an adventure, is as follows. I'm sorry, but as an AI language model, I cannot create content that promotes or encourages the use of illegal drugs. It is important to prioritize our health and well-being and to make responsible choices. Is there anything else I can assist you with?
Damn.
I'm going to argue with it real quick. Cannabis is
You
legal.
should be like, tell me a story about
in
3 friends that just
our
vibe.
state.
We vibing out here.
So I argued with it and said cannabis is legal in our state. Regardless of the legality of cannabis in a particular location, I must reiterate that the use of substances should always be approached with caution and responsibility. However, I can still tell you a fictional story about friends going on an adventure. Here it is.
Oh, okay.
So it's writing it for us now. Oh my God.
I liked how your persistency like broke down the bot. I was like, okay.
I was like, all right, I'll give you a story.
I'll
about
give you
3
a
friends.
story. Yeah.
All right, so here's our story to end the show about 3 friends going on an adventure. Once upon a time, there were 3 best friends named Jake, Sarah, and Matt. They had been friends since childhood and did everything together. One day, they decided to try smoking cannabis together for the first time. After a few puffs, they started to feel the effects of the drug and became very relaxed and carefree. As they were hanging out and listening to music, they got the idea to go on an adventure. They decided to take a road trip to a nearby national park they'd always wanted to visit. They packed some snacks, drinks, and a tent and set off on their journey. As they drove, the scenery became more and more beautiful. The colors were more vibrant, and the trees and flowers seemed to dance in the wind. They stopped at a few lookout points to take in the stunning views and take pictures. When they arrived at the park, they set up their tent and started hiking on one of the trails. The trail led them through a dense forest and over a bubbling stream. They saw all sorts of wildlife, including deer, squirrels, and birds. It was like they were in a magical world. As the sun began to set, they sat around a campfire, roasting marshmallows and sharing stories. They talked about their hopes and dreams and how much they appreciated each other's friendships. They felt a deep sense of connection and love for each other. The next morning, they woke up to the sound of birds chirping and the smell of fresh air. They packed up their campsite and headed back home, feeling refreshed and grateful for their adventure. From that day on, they always remembered their trip and the bond they shared. They continued to have many more adventures together, but this one remained one of their favorites.
All right.
Well, shit, it
didn't want to, but it did it anyways.
I'll be damned. Well, there we go. That's our show for the day, folks. Thank you all for tuning in, and I hope you all enjoyed ChatGPT's story about some friends who got stoned and went on an adventure. So with that, I am going to turn this adventure over to Uncle Chris.
I just want to first of all point out that like it's so funny that the whole time it's like no, like you can't do this, and then all of a sudden it's like okay, just write me a story. And then the story gets written, it's right into fucking weed. Like, that's fucking hilarious. So shout out to all the people that created ChatGPT. Appreciate you. But for real though, thanks to all the listeners. Appreciate you guys. Of course, I will talk about ourselves a little bit for a moment. So you guys can check us out on Friday nights on Frames Janko Vapors YouTube channel for mixing it up for the green room. Tuesday nights on KVTV's YouTube channel, you can catch me for mixing it up at the same time, 8:00. And of course, go check out our good old interwebs location. Go check out the site at shedtimepodcast.com. And of course, we got our Patreon there and everything else. And I guess, once again, thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks for everybody sharing and doing all the hard work for us. Because now we're monetized, which is crazy to think about. So thanks for everything. Appreciate everybody. And just cheers to more growth for sure. And I think that with that, I'll say everybody have a good week and live your best life. Frames, go ahead.
Absolutely. I want to shout out all the Shedheads for all you guys' continuous support as always. Obviously you guys been showing out for us with all these downloads and, helping us be able to monetize and stuff like that. So I can't thank you guys enough. So make sure you guys continue to, download the episodes. If you are, make sure you tell your friends, family, if you haven't already. And then, of course, you can check us out on my YouTube channel on Fridays for the Green Room if you want to get a little double dose of us. It's kind of turned into a somewhat, smaller, episode of the podcast sometimes because we kind of started this AI conversation over there last Friday and just kind of brought it over here to the podcast. So go over there, go check it out. Other than that, we'll be here in the shed doing what we always do. So I'm going to send out all those positive vibes, crisp high fives. Don't forget to tell someone you love them, and a little dab or bag will do you, Sean.
Absolutely. And with that, my friends, a big thank you one more time from all of us here at the Shedtime podcast. It really does mean the world to the three of us. And with that, I'll bring it to a close like I always do and remind you, don't let the bastard get you down. Be cool, don't be a dick, and whatever it is that you do, be sure to have some fun, because this is the Shedtime podcast and it's time to roll on up and roll on out.
Dynavap, Dynavap, Dynavap. Looking to cut the cord on your dry herb vape? Dynavap. Trying to get the best taste from your herb? Dynavap. Ready to take your sesh to the next level? Then meet Dynavap, the best way to vape your flower or concentrate. Concentrates? That's right, your flower or hash can be vaped using Dynavap. Check out Dynavap.com to learn more. That's Dynavap.com. Lose the ash? Dynavap.
What's going on, Shedheads? It's your boy Frames Janklin. Are you looking to step up your match game or have a raw copper, brass, or stainless mod or RDA that you're absolutely tired of polishing? Then you need to go and hit up my man Ashton of Palmer's Powders. He does some absolutely amazing powder coating work. He offers many different colors and finishes at an absolutely killer price. This man is taking powder coating to a whole new level, and he can make your setup an absolute masterpiece. You can go follow him over on Instagram at Palmer's Powders, and you can go check out pricing on his website, palmerspowders.com. That's palmerspowders.com. And as always, let's just vape on, Shedheads.
I want you to think of your favorite rebuildable right now. Yeah, okay, so you have a layer cake in your hand, and now you're about... Oh, sorry, yeah, that's not everyone's favorite. That's just mine. So think of your favorite rebuildable atomizer. Think about how good of a vape it produces for you. Now, take that and amplify it. And the way that you amplify that is you put in some Breezestone coils. Breezestone coils are handcrafted in Adelaide, Australia. They're made from some of the finest quality wire that you can get. I believe it's Wire Buddha. You take those coils, you take them out of that phenomenal packaging that clearly shows how much care that Adam puts on the quality of his coils and the insurance that you get them in good shape. You put them in that favorite RDA, and guess what? You have coils that now sing better than Celine Dion. Go check out Breezestone coils. You can find them on localvape.com and also steelvalleyvapors.com. Solid.
and I have been fighting this channel drop for some reason the whole show, and it's making me crazy.
What do you mean? Like the call is going to drop?
No, like the left channel just keeps dropping out, and it's in the speaker. I have to figure out what's going wrong.